पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ अफगान सरजमीन इस्तेमाल हो रही है।
Independent Islamic Republic.
पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ जो है अफगानिस्तान का सॉइल जो है, हमारे एक ब्रदर मुल्क का सॉइल जो है वो दहशतगर्दी के लिए इस्तेमाल हो रहा है। ये सारा जो है सरहद पार से वो आ रहे हैं और यहाँ आके ये कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पे हो सकता है कुछ स्लीपर सेल्स वगैरह उनके हों, लेकिन उनकी प्रेजेंस जो है, ओवरवेलमिंग प्रेजेंस जो है, वो इस वक्त अफगानिस्तान के सॉइल पे है।
Pakistani Defence Minister Khwaja Asif said Afghan territory was being used by armed groups to carry out attacks on his country and that it would trigger a tough response from Pakistan. These words provoked a sharp reaction from the Pashtun Taliban regime in Kabul. But can Pakistan carry out a surgical strike on Afghan soil or even a ground invasion of Afghanistan? It can. But then of course it would open up a can of worms because the Pashtun Taliban and the Pakistani Taliban, who are regularly attacking Pakistan at the moment, will be forced to unite. Also, Pakistan might just go ahead and do it. After all, they need that IMF loan extension, and the United States, who are a big stakeholder at the IMF, are keen to cause as much chaos as possible in the region.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well equipped as any army in the world, and an air force against something like 75,000 Taliban.
Most countries won't tell you about any sort of secret operation. If you want to know, you have to follow what's going on. I'm saying Pakistan will conduct a preemptive strike inside Afghan territory because the terror situation is out of control. There was a high-level meeting of the National Security Committee a few days ago in the Pakistani capital, which was attended by the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, the recently appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Asim Munir, and of course Defence Minister Khwaja Asif was there along with other senior officials. The official statement issued at the end of the meeting explicitly states no country will be allowed to provide safe haven for terrorists and their attacks will be suppressed by all the forces of the state. So based on this, I think the Pakistani side have plans to either enter Afghan territory or carry out an airstrike. The Pakistani Taliban remain a bloody thorn in Pakistan's body. Pakistan's war with it has been going on for almost 2 decades and has claimed over 83,000 lives of civilians inside Pakistan. In addition, about 9,000 Pakistani troops were killed during this period. These are very scary numbers. There's already been many peace talks between the Pakistani Taliban and the Pakistani government, as well as the ceasefire agreement signed after them. Take for instance the Shakai agreement in 2004 and the Saroga agreement in 2005 and the Miran Shah agreement of 2006, as well as SWAT peace agreement in 2009. The same happened last year. An agreement was signed which was brokered by the so-called Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, signed in October 2022, and that lasted only 22 days. And once again, it was unilaterally terminated by the Pakistani Taliban. The Pakistani Taliban are fanatics. They never take the middle ground. They have a personal dislike for Pakistan and they want to turn entire Pakistan into an Islamic country based on their own interpretations of Sharia law. And what's interesting about this case is, it was the Pakistani government along with the ISI who funded and trained these people, the Pashtun Taliban and the Pakistani Taliban. And now these two parties are turning against Islamabad. And of course there's no doubt there's external players involved in this game, those who provide the Pakistani Taliban with military, organisational and financial support. A lot of people are waiting for Imam Mahdi, a mysterious Imam of the end times, who will lead an army and spread justice. They look towards The Taliban. They say the Mahdi will come from them, and this is what the Pakistani intelligence service promoted to recruit for Mujahideens back during the Soviet days, and now look at the mess. Since the Pashtun Taliban coming to power in 2021, the Taliban have repeatedly said they won't allow their territory to be used for attacks against Pakistan, but only last year, 2022, the Pakistani Taliban that came from Afghan territory committed more than 150 attacks on Pakistani facilities, the most notorious of which was the hostage taking in December last year, which saw 40 security forces being taken hostage in the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, including their official speaker, Zaibullah Mujahideen, deny involvement in what's happening. I'm not sure whether they are genuine or not, probably not, because the Pashtun Taliban have not taken any action against the Pakistani Taliban, and the thing is, they can't. The Pashtun Taliban and Pakistani Taliban have a strong relationship. Oh, it's extremely strong. They fought alongside each other against the Americans and NATO. There's thousands of Pakistani Taliban members in Afghanistan. There's literally dozens of training camps, and there's nothing the Pashtun Taliban of the so-called Islamic Emirates can do about it. And they don't want to do anything either. And an internal conflict between the two Taliban factions could lead to serious problems. So it's easier to pretend that nothing is happening. What Pakistan is going through right now is bad. It requires military operation on Afghan territory. Pakistan can only rely on itself, and delaying the solution to this issue will just make things worse and a lot more expensive later down the line. The tumor has matured and therapy is no longer needed. It requires surgical intervention. Will Pakistan be able to sort out this problem, or will the problem linger and spread? As I said in my previous videos, it's the rise of the Abbasids from the Khorasan region, folks. Just like it happened back in history, it's happening now. History does have a habit of repeating itself, and Pakistan has taken the role of the Umayyads. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. Have a wonderful night.
To Pakistan now, where security forces say an operation to free hostages from Taliban fighters is now over. Troops stormed a high-security detention center in the northwest, where gunmen had been holding several people since Sunday. Efforts to negotiate with the hostage takers had failed.